Hi guys. So we are on to our final lesson in fractions, decimals and percentages. Now I promised that I would have a look at this with you today because I didn't want to give you any information about it yesterday. I wanted you to have a crack at it yourself. So let's have a quick look through it and we can see how you got on. So we've got our three statements from Ravi, Emma and Amira. Ravi's saying that he thinks that 68 is the same as 68%. Amira is saying that she thinks that 34 out of 50 is the same as 68%. And Emma says she thinks that 0.6 plus 0.08 is the same as 68%. And so you were challenged to find out who is correct and prove that they were correct. And if anyone was incorrect, try to explain what it was that they had done wrong. So let's go through each of those statements and see if we can work out whether we think they're correct or not. So we'll start with Ravi. Okay, so Ravi is saying that he thinks that the number 68 is the same as 68%. Now, when we are thinking about percentages, we're thinking about out of 100. And what we're trying to do is we're thinking about fractions and decimals and percentages. So let's just pop those down there. Fractions, decimals and percentages. Okay. And for each one, we want to find the equivalent. That's the really important thing here. So we are saying that if it's 68%, pop that in the percentages column. Ravi thinks that as a decimal, because we're thinking about it as a number, whether it's a whole number or a decimal, he's saying it's 68. Now, is 68 a decimal number or is it a whole number? Well, it isn't a decimal number, is it? It's a whole number. In order to make that the decimal number that is equivalent to 68%, we'd actually need to make it 0.68. All right. So this one here, 68 is not the same as 68% from what we've been looking at. However, if you're thinking about 100% of something being 100 rather than 1, then he is correct. So some of you may have actually looked at that and said, no, he is correct because of that reason. Actually, if 100 of something is 100% of it, then 68 is 68% of it. So we're not always thinking about 1. Now, don't worry if you did say, no, he's incorrect because it should be 0.68, because actually that's what we've been working about in terms of 1 being a whole number, and therefore 68% of that would need to be smaller than 1. So it was a real challenge, that one. It was a bit of a tricky one. I was trying to trick you on it. Let's have a look at Amira then. This one's a bit simpler. Amira says she thinks that 34 out of 50 is the same as 68%. So what we need to do, this is about our converting, isn't it? We need to make this out of 100. So if we were to convert that into out of 100, which is what percent is, then we would need to double the denominator to make that 100. And therefore we double the numerator to make that 68. So yes, she is correct. 34 over 50, which is the same as 68 over 100, is equivalent to 68%. So Amira is correct there. And then Emma, she says, I think that 0.6 plus 0.08 is the same as 68%. Well, if we have a look at what we've written over here, we have said that we think that 0.68 is equivalent to 68%. If we add 0.6 and 0.08, if we look at that in our columns, 0.6, and then I've got 0.08. If I look at that in a column, I can see that there's nothing here to add to the 8, so my answer would be 8 here. And let's quickly pop it down. 8 in this column, in my hundreds column. I've got 6 in my tenths column. Don't forget my decimal point, and I've got nothing in my ones, which is 0.68. So yes, yes. And we could say yes. We could argue no as well, if we're thinking about it in terms of decimals. So very, very well done for having a go at that. So your challenge today is to have a go at writing one yourself. Think about some statements that you could add into these speech bubbles, and then you could ask a friend to have a go to decide which of those is correct. I want you to really think about what you already know about fractions, decimals, and percentages and how they link together. Now, you might want to print this off. I've put it on tapestry for you if you would like to. You might like to just write it in your books. That's absolutely fine rather than printing it. You can, if you'd like to, just have one statement or two statements, or you could increase it to 4 statements. It's totally up to you. Don't spend too long on that. It's just a starter activity, so I'd say maximum of 5 minutes really to have a go at that one. As you know, we've finished all our maths no problem now. So what we're going to do today is you're going to have a look at this. Now, ignore this. I've put both sides on. You've only got 3 questions. So have a look at the sheet that I've provided. I've put it all onto a document together. So the level 1 questions, the level 2 and the level 3 are all on the same document with the answers at the end. So you'll find 3 questions for level 1, 3 questions for level 2 and 3 for level 3. You only need to choose one level. Now, I'm going to recommend that if you work with an adult at the beginning of our maths lesson in school, then you choose level 1. If you look at it and think, that's too easy, I need something a bit more challenging, that's absolutely fine. You can move on to level 2. But I would say that group, you want to start by having a look at that one. Level 2, that would be for most people. So again, there's only 3 questions. I have changed it a little bit because I thought, I'm being a bit cruel. I've given you too much to do. So I've taken some out. So have a go at those questions if you don't normally work with an adult on the carpet or at the beginning of our maths, and you're not in our maths teasers group. You again might look at that and think, no, I can challenge myself a bit further. Or you might look at that and think, I'm not too sure. So in which case you can go back to the level 1 questions. And then maths teasers group, you've got 3 questions from these as well. So you should be going straight in at this level. Some of you other people might be attempting that as a challenge. Right, and then your final thing is you're going to have a go, well, if you've got time, your extension. So I've given you a choice of extensions as well today. There's 1 star or 2 star. Now you're only going to choose one of these, and this is not for maths teasers group, you've got a different extension. But for the rest of you, you choose 1 star or 2 star. You don't need to do both. So you've got a group of marbles here, a bag of 100 marbles, and it gives you some statements. This one says there are 20 red marbles. So we have to think about actually what is that amount as a fraction, a percentage, and a decimal. The number of blue marbles is double the number of red marbles. So you're using other statements to help you. So if you work through the statements one at a time, you should hopefully be able to work out what the next one will be. Okay, so that's the 1 star, and this is the 2 star. All right, a little bit trickier. So if you want to challenge yourself, have a go at that one. And then our maths teasers group, you're going to have a go at the mind workout. Now, if you've got plenty of time, you can, if you want to, have a go at the 2 star marbles and then have a go at this one. But I do want you to try this one if possible, if you've got time. So you've got your mind workout, 2 mind workout questions. This one here, you could do directly into your workbook because it should be in your workbook. All right, so I'm really looking forward to seeing all your wonderful work on fractions and decimals and percentages. You're able to show me everything that you've learned. And remember, when we come back, we'll recap it, we'll go over it all. So please don't worry if you've got to the end of this week and you still don't feel very confident, because we can go over it in school and it's not long till we're back.